Well, you can still find Dreamblade Miniatures for cheap on eBay. So let's take a look and see if we can get some lucky picks. Each box has 7 miniatures. They're all pre-painted. They come on huge bases. Sometimes it's easy to get off the base, sometimes it's hard. And look at that, a really nice pull for our first miniature. Obviously useful for some sort of Feywild creature. I like the use of translucent materials in this line. For our second miniature, a classic, the Jack of Blades. I've used this guy for a number of D&D monsters. He's a little bit difficult to get off the base, but very easily fits in onto a 28mm base. Then we have this monstrosity here. Obviously good if you need a large mutant creature. Oh, another great medium creature for D&D. Again, excellent use of translucent material there. A little bit of a strange miniature there. I've never found a use for this one yet. One of the ones that will definitely not fit into a fantasy setting. I guess you could cut them apart for bits. Same thing, that one is one of the Dreamblade ones, way too large in scale. Here's the bizarre one. Obviously a little bit difficult to use for fantasy because frankly, hey, they're all kind of like modern clothing. Serpent one, much better to use for fantasy. Excellent looking miniature. We got an ice guy here. This is the first time I'm looking at this miniature. The paint job is terrible. I like the translucent parts. It might be useful to strip the paint from this one. And we have another large miniature. It could be used for an ogre slave. Interesting sculpt. Oh, a nice a little bit closer to 28mm. Perhaps some sort of Goliath at that size. And we have a nice little castle here. I'm not sure what you could use this for. Maybe just a map marker, something like that. An interesting sculpt, but maybe not very useful for D&D. Another one of these guys. Obviously, those would be very useful if you were doing some sort of sci-fi campaign or something like that. And we have this Shaymin guy, which would make a nice, like, Yeti druid character. A lot of cool little bits and pieces on their bandolier. Big yelly guy. Obviously, depending on what your mythological creature you need, maybe that could fit in somewhere. Another temple, again. Not too much you could really use this for unless you're just trying to get some markers for a map. A barb strider. Interesting stuff. Obviously, this could be useful for a mutant in a sci-fi setting or a fantasy creature as well. And we have a badger warrior. Interesting squat little creature. I definitely thought of some possibilities for that one. And we have a lovely, kind of like a, I don't know, another Feywild creature, maybe some sort of natural world, or maybe more of a magical creature of some sort. Very interesting sculpt. Very nice. Just a tad bit larger than 28mm. Again, super large feather warrior. Not that useful for D&D unless maybe it's a Goliath. I'm not sure. So this lot of Dreamblade miniatures really surprised me. I found some that I've never seen in person before, and more importantly, I found a bunch that I will definitely be able to use in my D&D collection. If you have any questions about using Dreamblade miniatures for D&D, I will be linking my previous video about that subject. If you've been using some Dreamblade miniatures in your D&D game, please let me know in the comments below.